Hi everyone, Arizona Treasure Hunter here, and I got a really special video today. Out of Facebook, Instagram, and right here on YouTube, I have 100,000 followers. That's crazy to me. And I couldn't be more happy and humble about this. I just want to thank everyone for liking, engaging, sharing my content, not only about lost treasure stories, but also metal detecting tips and all my content that I've given to y'all. I just want to thank y'all for that. This has been a very fun adventure, and welcome to my study. I just moved and I just got settled in, so this is where I read about treasure hunting stuff and history. Now, out of 100,000 followers, these are the 5 most commonly asked questions, and I got them right here. So, first one is, what metal detector do I use? Well, my workhorse that I use all the time is a Minelab Equinox 800. Now, in saying that, I have a lot of metal detectors. The metal detector that I used for finding the Spanish coins in the very beginning in 2005 was a Tesoro Lobo. I have a lot of Nocta metal detectors. I was sponsored by White's metal detectors. I have some Garrett metal detectors, and they're all really great machines, but the one that I go to the most with the utmost reliability is the Minelab Equinox 800. Now, they have the 900, and there's many different versions, and there's models of that Minelab has. But the Minelab Equinox 800 gives me the least amount of false signals, which means I'm not wasting my time or my energy. And it's very, very reliable. So, yeah, I use the Minelab Equinox 800 and the Garrett Pro Pointer 2, the carrot stick, every time. Number 2 is, how do I get started? So, how do I get started in treasure hunting? Well, now, question number 2. How did I get started in treasure hunting? So, I talked a lot about this when I did presentations at breweries, museums, high schools, and I was raised doing this. My family moved from Texas in 1993, and my father got religiously involved with gold prospecting, and I was a daddy's boy, so I was along for the ride. I had pretty much a normal childhood, but I had also very much a different childhood than anyone I have ever met in my entire life. Imagine every weekend for 16 years going out on adventures. Not only just going hiking and camping, but actually doing stuff and being successful at it, being productive, and exploring places that hadn't been seen or explored. And at that point, it was probably 60 years, 100 years. A lot of places that I went to are no longer on maps anymore. A lot of those roads we drove down have been closed down by the Forest Service for 20 years. I was just raised doing it. So I was blessed that as an 8-year-old child, getting able to talk to people that were old-time prospectors in their 90s at the time. And there was one guy who was 104 years old, and I got to learn a wealth of knowledge from the old-timers, who their fathers actually lived in the Wild West, which is awesome because history is not that far away. So I'm very thankful that I cut my teeth at a very early age in the treasure hunting world and prospecting world. Okay, so number 3. How do I get permission to metal detect on private property? I'm very polite, and first off, you just go ask. Don't dress like a slob. Don't swear. Look somewhat professional. Have pride in yourself. If you show up and you look like trash and you're cussing and swearing and acting like you're just going to leave holes in their property, they're not going to talk to you, and they're definitely not going to give you permission. And I'm from Texas, so 95% of Texas is private property. Here in Arizona, it's pretty much the opposite. So in Texas, no one's going to give you permission. But It's how you ask and how you approach them. And the more practice you have, the better you're going to get at it. But just have manners. That's the big thing. Just have manners. And whenever I get permission to go on properties, I'm thankful that I have a good reputation. Like I can say, here's the magazine I was in for finding Spanish treasure, which, and I'm on the Discovery Channel, the Travel Channel, Amazon Prime. I've been in a couple of movies, and a lot of times people are going to get really excited whenever I ask them, and they're like, "Do you have another metal detector?" And I'm like, "Of course, here you go. And let me show you how to use it." And then instead of me going out metal detecting a property, myself and the landowner are doing it together. Now, the beautiful thing about private property is once you get permission to metal detect on private property, a lot of people, it is who of you to get it in writing that you have permission to be there. For me, I don't do that just because I have an honor-based system and I'm trustworthy. I make an agreement with the landowners for 50-50, and a lot of times I just ask to take pictures with the items and just give everything right back to them. And they're really excited about it. So it's a lot of fun, metal detecting on private property. Now, metal detecting on private property, this is what I was trying to get at. Once you gain permission to metal detect on private property, there is no local, state, or federal agencies that have any say in what you do because it's on private property. Now, if you metal detect on federal property, that's a felony. Yeah, that's the Treasure Trove Act, which has so many holes in it. It's like a mattress that's been shot with a shotgun for 20 years. Like there's so many holes in the Treasure Trove Act. I'll do another video separately on the Treasure Trove Act. But if you metal detect on public lands, national forests, or anything like that, totally separate. Most of the time, you're not allowed to do it. But if you're on private property with permission of the landowner, no local, state, or federal agency has any say in what you do. No permits needed. But if you do it in parks or state land, public land, or a national monument's like Big X. It's like the reservation, Big X. No, don't do it. You're going to need permission. Now, every wilderness area has its own rules, regulations, laws, bylaws when it comes to metal detecting as well. But I go on private property with permission of the landowners because whatever deal we make is whatever deal we honor. So I know that was a lot of information. I'll post a link to the Treasure Trove Act, but depending on where you live, what state you live in, what mountain range you live close to, it all depends. So always ask permission before you go. And if you're going into a mountain range or a wilderness area, research what rules, regulations, and laws are required of you to follow in order to do that successfully. So always gain permission. Don't just go out there and do it. Where do I get my research material? I have an antiquities dealer in Texas. That's where I get all my maps from. That's where I get all my books from. And he's never steered me wrong. So I have my own antiquities dealer. And he's awesome. Number 5. So this one was kind of a tricky one. So what is a good starter metal detector? Like a good metal detector for someone getting started in treasure hunting. It honestly, in my opinion, depends on what kind of treasure hunting you're looking to do. So if you want to go like prospecting, there's metal detectors specifically made for going after gold. And if you want to go after everything, well, there's metal detectors geared toward that too. Now, that's like the Minelab Equinox 800, which is what I use. But there's also Garrett. Garrett makes amazing metal detectors, like the Ace, the AT Pro, the AT Max. Those are the ones that I use, but they also have different models and different variations. Minelab has a Vortex, which is like very affordable. It's like a couple $100 and really good machine. I would say the 2 top brands, if you wanted to get involved with treasure hunting, and you don't want to break the bank on like an $800 metal detector or a $1,000 metal detector, which at some point I advise you do, because when it comes to my equipment and things that I rely on, not only for my safety, security, and to be proficient in what I do, I'm not going to cheap out on things that could cheap out on me. But getting started, I would highly advise the Minelab Vanquish or the Garrett Ace or any of the Garrett AT series metal detectors. I believe right now the market for like Minelab Equinox 600 and 800s are like from like $500 to $800. The 900, like the Minelab Equinox 900, I believe is a little bit over $800 last I saw. But Minelab and Garrett make amazing metal detectors. Those are the ones I would advise you to go to Amazon, type in different, just like Garrett metal detectors, and just search. And then Minelab metal detectors and search, because what might work best for me might not necessarily be the metal detector that works best for you. So I've just used the Minelab for many, many years, and I'm proud to say my Minelab Equinox 800 has paid for itself 6 times over, which is really cool. Now, those are the 5 most commonly asked questions out of 100,000 people over the last 6 months. So I hope this helps. And if anyone has any more questions, feel free to comment below. I'm going to post some more content. I'm going to spend today actually doing a couple more videos. I'm going to post them every week. So I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Be sure to stay safe, stay alive, keep treasure hunting. I'm going to do some reading now. Bye, guys.